All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today we have another Houston Rockets video for you guys. No April Fool's jokes today. This video is actually just going to be talking about John Wall. So if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Last night, the Houston Rockets had a tough defeat last night against the Brooklyn Nets. They had them for pretty much the first half. They had them for about 2.5 quarters. James Harden even went down, and they still got the job done relatively easily. So right now, the Houston Rockets stand at 13-34. They are a game and a half in front of the Minnesota Timberwolves. And if you're not aware already, the Houston Rockets need to be a bottom 4 team. They need to get a top 4 pick in the draft lottery, because if they don't, that draft pick goes to Oklahoma City. So right now, they're like 7 games behind Oklahoma. So on the West, it seems to be getting way more competitive. You've got the Grizzlies, Warriors sitting there in the top 10. But then you've got the Kings made some additions. The Pelicans are a good squad. And then the Thunder have actually been playing pretty solid basketball, especially considering or when compared to the Houston Rockets. So Houston Rockets, they made some moves at the deadline. They got rid of Victor Oladipo. They got rid of P.J. Tucker. So currently, David Nwaba, Eric Gordon, those 2 dudes are hurt. And they're kind of running with a whole bunch of different dudes. So last night you had something we haven't really seen before, because it was Christian Wood and Kelly Olynyk playing together. But the starting lineup was Kevin Porter Jr., Christian Wood, Jae'Sean Tate, Daniel House, and Sterling Brown. Daniel House kind of been picking it up recently. Kelly Olynyk, KJ got some run. DJ Augustine got some good minutes in, and he played really well. And Avery Bradley actually got some good minutes, but he did not play that great shooting the ball wise. So when specifically thinking about John Wall, I don't know why he's still playing for the Rockets like to this degree. So he actually got ruled out before the Nets game. I was actually kind of surprised that happened. I know he was like questionable a little bit before, but it was mainly just a maintenance day. The way I see it with this Houston Rockets team is John Wall is a good basketball player. Whenever John Wall is on the basketball court, he's gonna help them win games. And I know they've only won 13 of them this year, but I think that's a fairly easy statement to say. John Wall helps the Houston Rockets win games. On the season, statistically doing pretty well. He's averaging 20 points per game. He's averaging just slightly under 7 assists per game. Shooting about 32% from 3, so definitely nothing great over there. But he's played in 32 games, and obviously he hasn't played in quite some time before this year. So John Wall, the Houston Rockets, I've been advocating for him to get shut down for quite some time now, and I still really want that to happen, because John Wall hasn't played basketball before this year in 2 years off that Achilles injury. I want John Wall to be on the Houston Rockets. I want him to help us win. I still would rather have a fully healthy John Wall than a fully healthy Russell Westbrook. And I know a lot of Rockets fans would disagree. I know a lot of NBA fans would disagree. But a healthy John Wall, to me, is an absolute menace. Absolute menace. So I just think the Rockets team, the way this team's moving, they're moving in the right direction. You've got Christian Wood, you've got Kevin Porter Jr., but more importantly, you need those dudes and you need everybody else on the bench to get minutes for the rest of the season, because not only do you want to lose, but it's mainly you want to lose. So you traded away your star player. Now is the perfect time to tank. You have this 1-year little gap here where you have all these draft picks. You have a good amount of salary space. It's a decent free agent year, nothing great, nothing special. But if we land with a top 4 pick, if we get Cade Cunningham, if we get Jalen Suggs, if we get Jalen Green, if we get Evan Mobley, if we get any of those 4 players, you go out, you pick up a free agent and or make a trade in the offseason or even in the regular season. I mean, this is a competitive team. So I want to shut down John Wall for the rest of the season, because he said he wanted to get surgery after the season anyway. So why even play when you're injured right now on a rebuilding team that is fighting for a better draft pick. Why are you still playing, forcing yourself to play through injury? It just doesn't make sense to me, considering we have Kevin Porter Jr., who we want to develop into a all-star, superstar point guard. In order for that to happen, he's going to need minutes. He's been playing shooting guard since Victor Oladipo got traded, but Eric Gordon will be coming back soon. David Nwaba will be coming back soon. So Eric Gordon, I'm not too big on shutting down. I would like to shut him down, but I don't think that one's as realistic. I like the idea of shutting John Wall down just because we have Kevin Porter Jr. and you have DJ Augustine now backing him up. So DJ Augustine is the perfect backup. He's been the perfect backup for him this year in his limited, 7-8 games he's played for us. He's been playing really well. He's a really good, really solid, veteran, experienced player. I love John Wall, but I want John Wall to be fully healthy for next year. I don't want there to be complications. I don't want him sitting out on back-to-backs. Sitting out back-to-back sucks. Even if you're like LeBron James or Kawhi Leonard, you don't want your guys sitting out back-to-backs. It messes with chemistry. It messes with everything. So John Wall shutdown, I'm all for it. Even an Eric Gordon shutdown, I am all for that as well. But I think the John Wall one's a little bit more realistic. However, an Eric Gordon shutdown is just as realistic because we've got a ton of depth at the guard position because we're a small ball team. So I think this works perfectly because it frees up so many more minutes when John Wall isn't playing. Get guys like Anthony Lamb some run. Get guys like DJ Wilson some more run. KJ Martin some more run. I want to keep seeing what Kelly Olynyk's about. He's been putting on a clinic. 14, 3, and 4 last night. Very efficient. It's just really been his three-point shot that hasn't been falling since he's been on the Rockets. Everything else has been falling. But, Kevin had a good game last night. He only turned the ball over once, dropped 20 points, had 6 assists. I like what I'm seeing from him. Christian Wood didn't do too much. He hasn't really looked the same, in my opinion, offensively since the injury, but it hasn't been that long. He did throw in 2 steals. He did throw in three blocks. So defensively, he was a beast down there. And like I said, man, Daniel House playing decent basketball, kind of the cycle of Daniel House. I hope he doesn't put up a couple duds the next game. But anyways, let me know what your guys' thoughts are on shutting down John Wall. We do play the Boston Celtics on Friday. This is going to be an interesting game because the Rockets have kept a lot of teams in it until the very end. And if you don't watch the games, it's actually kind of intriguing, or not intriguing. It's actually kind of interesting how they tank every game, or not tank it, but how they seem to find a way to blow every game. Like the 21-0 run. Now you've got this with the Nets without Harden dominating the whole first half. It's interesting. So hit that like button, hit that sub button. Let me know your thoughts about John Wall.